What's going on YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, we're going to be working on the BMW 330. We're going to be doing technically my second performance mod on the car, and that is an air intake. So in the first half of the video, I will be showing you guys how to install it. It should be pretty quick and easy, but in the second half of the video, I'll include some sound clips, so like what the car sounds like now versus what it sounds like with air intakes. So if you guys want to see what it sounds like, definitely stay tuned to the end of the video. I also have a BMS air intake on my 435, which has the N55, and just for fun, we're going to see what the two cars sound like side by side. I won't really tell you much about this car because obviously this is a 4-cylinder, that car is a 6-cylinder, but since I have both cars and both of them have a BMS intake, I might as well. We'll do it just for fun. So yeah guys, like I said, I'm going to be doing this on my 2017 BMW 330. So this car has the B46/B48 motor. This air intake and process will pretty much be the same for like a 430 or a 230. So yeah, with that said, let me show you guys the new air intake. Alright, so here it is guys. As you can see, there's really not much to it. This is basically the main piece over here, which the MAF sensor, so mass airflow sensor, is going to connect to. Obviously you have the cone here, which by the way guys, you can get in red as well as blue if you want. If you guys didn't know already, I have red interior, and I'm also going for some red accents in the car, so that's why I went with the red cone. But if you guys want blue, they definitely have that as well. So yeah, other than that, you get this bracket piece over here, which is going to connect to this piece, and then it's going to connect to the car, basically hold down the air intake and make sure it doesn't like shake around, stuff like that. But anyways guys, if you want the same air intake, I will leave some links down in the description below. It's only about like 200 bucks, so as far as I know, it's the cheapest air intake that you can get for these cars. But yeah, anyways, with that said, let me show you guys how to install this thing, and then we'll jump into the sound clips later. So now the first thing we want to do to install this intake is obviously just pop open the hood real quick. So if you guys didn't know, this is where the factory airbox sits. So to access it, what we're gonna have to do is remove this plastic piece over here. You basically want to pop up over here. There's one grommet, and then there's another grommet over here, and then we can just slide this thing away. So now with that out, we can better see the airbox. And now as you guys saw from the new intake, it is a super small, super short intake, so it's really only going to connect from here and then replace this factory airbox. So what we want to do is remove the mass airflow sensor. I believe it's two T15s, I want to say. We actually don't need to disconnect the cable. We're just going to unscrew it. After that, we're going to remove the top of this factory airbox, remove the filter, and then we should pretty much be good to install the new air intake. Now, if you didn't know already, to remove the airboxes on pretty much any BMW, it's just these metal clips over here, which you can just pop out with your finger. You can also get like a flathead screwdriver. So there's one, two, there's a third one here, and then there should be a fourth one hidden down there somewhere. There it is, if you guys can see it, sort of like right underneath the MAF sensor. So I went ahead and disconnected all those metal clips, but before I actually lift off this airbox, we're gonna disconnect the MAF sensor over here, and then we're gonna disconnect the airbox over here, which by the way is super easy guys. You basically just squeeze these two things together and it should disconnect, but we'll disconnect this first and then we'll get to that. So like I said, I removed the mass airflow sensor. Those were just two T15s. And then I disconnected the airbox from this part over here. I do plan on keeping this piece in here. If you guys want to go an extra step, you can definitely remove these metal clips. I'm personally not going to remove them just in case. I think they'll be fine, but if I do hear them rattling or something, maybe I'll remove them at that point. But for now, I'm just going to leave it. So now, of course, here is the factory airbox, the filter, which is actually better than I thought it would be, and then the top of the airbox. As you guys can see, I just reconnected the Torx screws that came off the mass airflow sensor, and the reason for that is we're actually not going to be reusing these screws. These screws are meant to go inside plastic, so just to make sure I don't lose them, I just put them back into here. That way, if we ever want to go back to stock, or for whatever reason, we have them and we don't lose them. I definitely recommend always doing the same, by the way. But yeah, so now that this thing's out, we can start getting the new air intake ready, and that's going to be super easy, guys. So obviously we're just going to unwrap this filter, we'll connect it to the new metal piping, and then we'll get it connected inside the car. Alright, so as you guys can see, I got the cone on, so it's just a 8mm or a flathead there to tighten up. Just make sure that it is straight all along, guys, just to make sure you have a good seal. Make sure it's tight, but not super tight. Obviously, you don't want any air leaks. So now with that done, what we're gonna do next is remove these screws here. So now these two are gonna be for the mass airflow sensors. So we're just gonna take them off right now so that's easier to put back in. And then this screw here, as well as that washer, is for the bracket that I showed you guys earlier. So this bracket right over here, this side is gonna connect to the air intake, and then this side is gonna connect to this bolt right over here. So I believe it's a 13mm. So we're gonna have to remove this bolt so that we can reattach it with this bracket. All right, so quick update. As you guys can see, I took that bolt out, I put it in with the bracket on. I also have the bracket on the air intake, and I have this partially in, so nothing is yet tightened. I just want to see how everything's going to sit and make sure that everything's aligned before I tighten everything down. So what we need to do now is just lock this in, which should just be a matter of pushing it in, and then we'll tighten up this screw over here and then this one over here, which, by the way, I don't know if I mentioned yet, this is a 4mm Allen, as well as these two screws here, which I'll do at the very end. But for now, let me just lock this in. Alright, so as you guys just saw, of course, the air intake is officially in. Everything is tightened down. But yeah, really quickly, I don't know if I said that this one is a 4mm Allen. It's actually a 3mm. This one over here is a 4mm. So just a heads up, guys, if you're doing this project yourself. Oh, by the way, before I forget, to reinstall that plastic piece that was covering this part over here, if you guys recall, we basically slid it out from over here. So you just want to slide that back in like that, and then pop in the grommet on this side just like that. And now for this side here, if you guys recall, there was another grommet that came off with the factory air box. So what we're gonna do instead, if you guys notice on the bracket over here, there's a groove that's actually meant for this plastic piece to kind of keep it in place and make sure it doesn't shake around. So as you guys saw from that, this is a super easy project. Even with filming, it only took me about like 20-25 minutes. So for you guys, it'll probably only take you like 10 or 15, as long as you have the right tools. Also pretty inexpensive. Like I said before, this is only about like 200 bucks. If you guys want it, I will leave some links down in the description below. So with all that said, let's hop in the car, turn it on, see what it sounds like. Before I actually hop inside the car and turn it on, can we just appreciate how good this thing looks? Like, if you guys can tell, it's this glossy black, which looks so good next to the charge pipe. I think they both look good together. Unfortunately though, it's still winter, as you guys know, so I haven't gotten a chance to actually clean out this engine bay. But once I do, I think these two are gonna pop. What I'm thinking about doing in the future is maybe even painting this gloss black and then getting some like red accents from like golden wrenches, something like that, so it all kind of matches like this gloss black and red theme. That'll of course match the exterior of the car, since it's black sapphire metallic with the red interior. So yeah guys, just some ideas, but stay tuned for those videos if you guys are interested in seeing that. But for now, let's go inside the car and see what this thing sounds like. So as you guys heard, this thing sounds insane. It definitely sounds very different than my air intake and the N55. This one sounds a little more like there's more character in the sound to it, if that makes sense. But anyways, like I was saying before, I will show you guys like a sound comparison between the two. Not that you're really gonna care much if you're thinking about buying this air intake, but I think it's gonna be cool, so why not? But if you guys are thinking about buying this air intake for your BMW with the B46/B48 engine, I would highly recommend it. It was super easy to install, very fairly priced, and it sounds incredible. So what I'm gonna do now is take the car for a drive. I know I already dropped some sound clips for you guys to hear, but I wanna see what it sounds like when you're actually driving it. So I'm gonna hop outside, put all my tools away, then we'll go for a drive, and I'll try to get the 435 and this 330 next to each other so we can do those sound comparisons. So if you guys still wanna see all that, definitely stay tuned to the end of the video. But for now, let me go clean up and we'll go for a drive. All right, so it is a little later in the day, but as promised, I'm gonna take you guys with me on a drive to test out this air intake. Once starting up the car, I did not get any check engine lights or anything like that, so that's already a good sign. But I want to see if this air intake really makes a difference in terms of sound when you're actually driving, because obviously guys, as you heard before, this thing sounds pretty wild with the hood up and all that type of stuff. I want to see if you can actually hear it while driving, because obviously the air intake kind of sits more so to the side of the passenger side. So it's a little further from the driver, so I really want to see how much we can hear it. Also, they do say an air intake helps out with throttle response and should add a little bit of power as well. Nothing crazy, but we should still see a bit of a difference. All right guys, so I'm pulled up at a red light right now. Just overall, in terms of performance, nothing crazy. Maybe just sharper throttle response, a little more power, but nothing to write home about. Again, it's really the sound that I think makes a difference. The car sounds a little more dramatic and it feels faster, even though it's probably not much faster, just because of the sound alone. Again, no air intake is going to give you crazy power gains. You really get that from like a tune. But just the sound alone, guys, again, I think it's so worth it. That's the reason why I did it on the 435. I absolutely loved it. I love it on this car. I do think this air intake sounds a little better than the one on the N55. Like I keep on promising, I will show you guys the difference between the two. But yeah, this thing sounds so good. Also, I could be wrong on this, but I think it made the burble sound a little louder. I could be wrong, or it could just be in my head, but yeah, the car just sounds so much better now. And it feels just more fun to drive because of the sound. So definitely worth it. But yeah, anyways, let's head home. We'll get the 435 and the 330 next to each other, and then we'll compare the two. As promised, here are both cars next to each other. So of course, the 2017 BMW 330, which we've just been working on. And then this is also my 2015 BMW 435, if you guys are new to the channel. Yeah, if you guys didn't know already, this 435 comes with the N55, and I currently have a BMS Elite air intake on it. Yeah, with that said, let me pop open the hood on the 435 and I'll show you guys the intake on this car. So like I said, this also has a BMS intake. This is the Elite air intake, so this one's aluminum versus the normal one, which is just plastic. So I also have a red cone on this one as well. But this air intake sounds amazing, guys. I installed this thing a long time ago. I actually ended up switching to the red cone pretty recently, I would say. But yeah, this thing sounds great. We'll see if it sounds better though than the 330 over here, which of course you guys saw we installed an air intake on this car as well. Pretty cool to see them side by side. So obviously that one is a lot simpler than this one here. By the way, if you guys have an N55 and you guys want the same air intake, I will leave a link to this one down in the description as well, because of course that one only works for the B48. So if you have an N55, this one would be for you. But yeah, anyways, with that said, I'm gonna set you guys up on a tripod. We'll rev each car, we'll get some sound clips of the air intakes, and you guys can let me know down in the comments below which one you think sounds better, if they sound similar, if they sound pretty different. I think they sound very different in my opinion. Obviously very different engines. The B48 is a 4-cylinder, whereas the N55 is a 6-cylinder. They naturally sound very different, but regardless though, we'll just do this for fun and in the name of science, I guess. Alright, so there you have it, guys. Those are the sound clips for both cars. I think they both sound amazing. Definitely very different. I don't know if I have a preference between the two. Always loved the sound of the N55, but the B48's intake sounds pretty crazy. With that said, let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Again, both these air intakes will be linked down in the description below. If you guys want to see the build of either of these cars, definitely hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. It really helps me out, guys. But with that said, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.